everybody. Oh my goodness. I can see so many beautiful people. Okay, I'm Kaamika Marsh. I'm a mother of two here in New York City. That is my favorite job in the world, the hardest job in the world. I'm on TV every day. I happen to be on TV every day. I have my own segment called Monica Makes It Happen. No pressure, right? But I have to make it happen for families all across the city. Whatever they need, housing, insurance problems, I'm your girl. Okay, but what I want to explain to you is that when I was told about the topic today, creating a better world, creating a better community, I immediately thought of moms. Not because I'm a mom, not because I had the best mom, but because moms are making it happen. Am I right? Yes, yes. And every day I tell stories about moms who, first they need my help, but then I end up working with them, because they're incredible people, and they're doing these wonderful things, getting very little attention for it. So I thought this is a great opportunity. I get a lot of attention every day on TV. This is a great opportunity to shine some light on my favorite mom, my own mom. There she is, Maria Teresa Morales. She would hate this, by the way. She would hate this. She wanted no attention. She was very humble. She was just always of service. And I just want to tell you about her a little bit. She came here as a teenager from Bolivia. I'm Hispanic. Look at those glasses, those diva glasses. Love her. She was undocumented for many years. She had odd jobs growing up. She pretty much cleaned floors. She cleaned homes. She cleaned people's hair at a salon. She was homeless for some time, sleeping in hallways. She told me those stories, and now it's really painful for me to tell those stories because she's my best friend and my mentor. But she suffered a lot through her life to give me a better one. And she met my father in Chicago. They met in this country. And he's Norwegian, if you can imagine, very tall, has a PhD, an LLM, a JD. I still don't know to this day what any of that means. I could Google it, though. I could Google it. But he was very smart. He was very educated. But yet, my mom was smarter than him. Does that make sense to anybody? She didn't have a high school diploma, but she was smarter than him. She made everything happen in my life and in our family's world. Whether it was the mechanic, we didn't have a lot of money. So when the car conked out, that was a big deal for us. We couldn't afford it. So she would make these liverwurst pickle sandwiches that were terrible. I mean, I'd get them in my lunchbox. Nobody wanted to be my friend. But for some reason, the mechanic loved that sandwich, for some reason, right? And would bring down the price. The price would go down so we could afford it. Then there were the doctors. Doctors have so many, MDs, all these degrees. And she would argue with them about what was wrong with me. And she was right. She was always right. Then there was the cheerleading coach. I was a cheerleader. And I'm just going to tell you something. This is controversial. I am not coordinated. I shouldn't have been on that squad. But after one discussion with my mother behind closed doors, I was on that squad. And I was voted most spirited. I hope no one gets in trouble for this after this talk. But she made it happen, so I learned a lot from her. She got cancer recently, and she had 6 months to live. And I watched her disintegrate in front of my eyes. And if any of you have loved ones that have cancer, this is going to be hard for me. And she was my hero. She was my mentor. She was the strongest woman I knew. And she was disintegrating right in front of my eyes. And my father, they were married 40 years, right? And he's an active alcoholic. And if you know anything about alcoholism, it's brutal. Yeah. So he was not able to show up for her toward the end. And so I watched her physically falling apart and heartbroken, mentally falling apart. But yet, she did it with grace and dignity in those last few days. Grace and dignity. And a sense of humor, by the way. I don't want to be a downer here. I'm going to share one story. Hope it's okay. She was dying, and I said, Mom, this is wrong. Dad's not here. I'm going to call him. I'm going to get him here, because I'm powerful, right? I can get him here. And she said, nah, don't worry about it. I don't want him here. And that gave me the strength that it was okay. That it was okay with her. It was okay. And I learned what that looked like and what kind of strength she came from. And my sister and I, by the way, were with her when she died on her chest. And that's all she really wanted. Her best job, most important job, and she told me this, was being a mom. That's what she was most proud of. And she was really great at it. Thanks, Mom. If you're watching, thank you. Now, the timing couldn't be, I don't know if it's coincidental. I don't believe in coincidence. I think everything happens for a reason. I got this series on television. I'd always wanted to make a difference. Try to sell that to a network executive, okay? And I got my series right around that time, and I also became a mom. So I lost my best friend, but I got 2 of my best friends. And that prepared me for what I had to do ahead, because it's not easy making things happen. Do you know moms, dads? Oh, and dads, don't get mad at me. Dads do it too. That's a whole other talk, okay? So don't get mad at me, okay? Because you're doing it too. But it got me ready for the series ahead, and I started getting all these emails from moms that needed my help, face-burning emails where their homes were falling apart, their children were sick. And one of my first stories is Jessica Middleton. I was 7 months pregnant. She was 7 months pregnant. There she is, and she was sleeping on that park bench. She was homeless, and it's hard to believe in New York City with all the resources in the world, the richest city in the world, we have 60,000 people living in homeless shelters right now, people like Jessica. Now, when she reached out to me, I'm an investigative journalist, thank you very much. What do you do to help, right? I Googled it. New York City, homeless, pregnant moms. And guess what came up? goodcounsel.org, an organization that specializes in that. So I made a phone call, I got a social worker, and they got her into a shelter almost immediately. Gave her a beautiful home. There she is. She just reached out to me on Twitter. Thank God for social media, right? Twitter. She tweeted me last year, and she said, Monica, I want to meet with you. I want to meet with you on Mother's Day. So I did a story on Mother's Day. And you know why she wanted to meet with me? She wanted to give me flowers and a hug and say thank you. Guess what Jessica's doing now? She has another baby, so now she has 2 babies. She has a home, and she has a job. She's completely changed her life. Isn't that beautiful? Put your hands together, Jessica. Then there's Kaamika Marsh. I met Kaamika Marsh just after Jessica. And she reached out to me on Facebook, the power of Facebook, messaged me and said, Monica, you know, I'm a mom, I'm a security guard overnight, and I don't have time, I don't have money, but I want to finish college. I have 1 more semester, but I have 3 kids and I just can't do it. Can you help me? Investigative reporter that I am, I hosted an event with LaGuardia Community College. And so I called over there to the president. I said, can I talk to Gail? And I actually got through. Sometimes when you just do it. Doesn't matter, just do it. And so they said, you know what, we happen to have a foundation for that, helping moms finish school. So we're gonna give her a scholarship. So there she is, finished college. No, it gets better. I love it. Kaamika, look at that smile. It really is just, she's amazing. Now, she's going to law school. She's not done yet, okay? She's going to law school. Kaamika's going to law school. And LaGuardia Community College was so inspired by her that they started the Kaamika Fund, the Kaamika Foundation. You can Google it if you need to. And it helps other moms just like her finish college. And here's a woman who was studying. She would tell me with her book on her chest and her babies, she made it happen. She did. This is my favorite story. Carmen Quinones, and she's holding our cup. Pix 11's going to love this. Carmen Quinones, I met her when I was uncovering a humanitarian crisis here in New York City. It's hard to believe, but we have a humanitarian crisis happening in New York City right now as I speak. 400,000 people live in public housing. And I didn't know this, but I started to get a lot of messages during the winter. This was 2 years ago. People didn't have heat or hot water. This is in the United States, in New York City. The tale of 2 blocks next to condos that are worth millions of dollars. Now, just to give you an idea of how big this problem is, 400,000 people, that's the size of Miami. That is the population of Miami. A lot of moms with children and seniors. Carmen reached out to me because she represents the Douglas houses on the Upper West Side. Again, one of the most wealthiest neighborhoods you'll ever encounter. And she has 19 grandchildren that live in public housing. So this is deeply personal to her. What's happening is deeply personal. How did it get to this point? Some say it's city, state, and federal agencies for years neglecting the problem and disinvestment. How does that happen, right? But there she is. It's deeply personal to her. She's a mom. She's a grandma. And she's fierce. Don't mess with Carmen. I wouldn't. So she told me, why don't we do a town hall? You've got the cameras. And I said, okay, great. Let's do a town hall. It's the middle of the winter. It's a Friday night. We select her church in Harlem. And there's a blizzard. I'm like, oh no, no one's going to show up. My bosses are going to kill me. It ends up, it's packed. It's a packed church. We struck a nerve. I brought my cameras. I brought my Facebook show. 135,000 people watched that town hall on Facebook, right? Commented, told their own stories. It was a breakthrough. It was a turning point for public housing in New York City. I didn't make a lot of friends, believe me. A lot of things I can't tell you. Maybe someday. But the bottom line is Governor Andrew Cuomo, shout out to him, he was watching. And he called me on a Sunday night, and he basically said, we're going to declare this a state of emergency. And then Carmen and I were invited to the White House. There I am covering the story. Now, one person can make a difference, I guess, right? Carmen made a difference. She really did, and we just gave her the platform. We gave her a voice. We amplified her voice. I'll never forget that. My bosses didn't even believe it. It was quite extraordinary. Oh, and by the way, I almost forgot. She's running for public office. She's going to run for city council. Yeah, put your hands together for Carmen. Yeah, it's quite amazing. None of them have a lot of resources, right? I guess you could call some of us moms underdogs, right? But we really are warriors wherever you put us, right? And she is an inspiration to me. I have to tell you, to wrap this all up and how this affects me as a television reporter and a mom, and why this franchise to me is so important, is I'm going to quote one of my own favorite spiritual advisors, my son, Matthew, 7 years old. His teacher gave him an assignment, and we were doing homework, and he says to me, just so beautifully, I'm like, what's a hero, Matthew? He says, a hero is someone who has a dream. I think he was inspired by Martin Luther King. And then takes actions toward that dream, and then changes the world. Isn't that beautiful? Right? Go Matthew. And for me, those three parts are exemplified in these women. And for me, my dream is on the bus on 2nd Avenue every day when I head to work. I take the bus, and I'm calling these women that have messaged me on Facebook, tweeted me, Instagram, you got it. And I'm on the phone with them, and I have a dream that someday I'll have a national platform to help them, connect them with other moms, and I think through social media we can do it, right? And connect them with resources, politicians, corporations, organizations that can make it happen in their communities through the use of television and social media. Now, the actions is every day. I'm calling you to action because every day I'm going into homes, and I'm doing it every day. I have a deadline of 5:45. I'm on at 5:45 every night, so I have to get it done. Now, it's the small things that I'm going to challenge you to do. Just right now, as we're taping this, a woman named Dynasty in Harlem is getting a new sink. It's true. I worked 2 weeks on the phone, 2 weeks with the city and with Dynasty. She's named after the show, by the way. Her mom was a big fan. And it was the hardest thing, one of the hardest stories I had to execute recently. Why? Why? The red tape, right, for a kitchen sink. Her kids, 4 and 3 years old, could not brush their teeth in their bathroom. Why is that a big deal? It's a big deal. These stories represent thousands of others, and these small stories mean so much. We're also working on the big story. The big story, I guess I could tell you now, is $32 billion needed to change public housing, to fix these buildings. Where do we get it? How are we going to get it? We're uncovering that too. Stay tuned, right? And then the changing the world part. Bring it back to my mom. There she is again. Now, this is my favorite picture of her. She would hate this. She would hate this. In her muumuu, always being of service. Maria Teresa Morales. I call it mom momentum. You know, you get started and you just keep going, and then it is a mom's movement, whether it's political, whether it's in corporations, whether it's social media. It is a moms like her that are making it happen. And it's all behind the scenes, by the way. So I just want to shine the light. I want to create the platform, and I challenge you to do that in your own day-to-day lives. Acknowledge your own moms. I know all of you have one, right? And thank you. This is a big old love letter to my mom for what she had to go through to make it happen for our family. So who is it that makes it happen? Moms make it happen. Thank you so much.